who is there. John, what on earth has happened in Parliament today?
That's exactly as you've been describing. It's absolute chaos, isn't it? I don't think it's done anyone any good, to be frank. We came here today thinking that we would have a serious debate about what's happening in Gaza. We thought we'd all have the opportunity to vote in the different forms. I was going to vote for any motion that called for an immediate ceasefire. I was going to vote for the SNP motion, and then if the Labour amendment came forward, I'd vote for that because it called for an immediate ceasefire. But what's happened now is it's just degenerated into, I think, damage to everyone, including Parliament itself. I think the rumours around Labour threatening the Speaker, if they're any way accurate, it's really damaged the Labour Party. In terms of the Speaker, I think his confidence in the Speaker has been significantly undermined, and I speak as a friend of Lindsay Hoyle. I think it has been undermined, and I think the games that the Conservative Party were playing as well by not participating in a vote, they're the government. So I think everyone comes out of this really badly damaged.
Why is John McDee always with the correct takes every single time? Like, he's right to say that everybody's hands are muddied on this issue. And that whilst we should, as he said, literally, as we should have been doing, we should have been using this day to actually deal with the issues of what's happening in Gaza. And to go back to that Sam Zomlot quote, they've been trying to save themselves, the politicians, rather than save the people being subjected to genocide in Gaza. And he's 100% correct to say that, the real thing that comes damaged out of this the most is our trust in democracy, which is already failing at this point as well. Again, and the only reason why it's failing is because we don't write this shit down. It's not codified. Because convention is a stupid way to do governance. It's a really terrible way. I mean, we've already seen from the entirety of the Boris Johnson period that having everything done on convention by gentleman's agreement is just a way in which that people who are unscrupulous individuals can weaponize that to be able to play political games at the expense of everybody else. Just have it codified, have it written down, have it be actual rules that you have to follow, rather than just expecting everybody to do the good thing, when politics is predominantly about using your power to do the things you need to within the limits that you've been constrained by, rather than respecting limits that don't exist.
You say the confidence in the Speaker has been undermined. Do you think it's been fatally undermined? Do you think he'll be able to continue in his job?
Can't tell at this stage. All I know that there's a depth of anger here that I've not seen for quite a while, and it would take an awful lot of reassurance to people to re-establish the status of the Speaker in this way. And as I say, I'm a friend of Lindsay's. I just wish he hadn't made this decision. And sometimes you just have to abide by the rules. It's almost like the way players surround the referee on a football pitch, trying to influence the referee. That should never have happened if it took place. The Speaker should have been allowed to do his job, and he should have stood firm on that, on the basis of the procedures that we've adopted over centuries.
You talked there about rumours that the Labour Party threatened the Speaker, tried to influence the Speaker. Now, they've denied that. They say that's categorically not true. Do you believe them?
I don't know anymore. I just don't know. After today, I just can't tell what's happened. And to find the fact that the Speaker has taken the decision that he did, contrary to our standing orders, to be frank, I just wonder what did influence him. And maybe everyone should come clean about what meetings did take place, who was present, and maybe publish some record of those meetings as well. Because what we do know is that the clerks of the House have put a letter in the House of Commons library saying what their advice was, and their advice was clearly that this was contrary to standing orders.
John McDonnell absolutely taking the right position there. Just saying, no, I don't know anymore. I do not know about what could potentially be going on. Everybody should come clean. That's the line that the left of the Labour Party have to take at this point. To have to essentially leave the door open for that criticism of the leadership to be there, because they know, right? They've all been seeing what's been happening behind closed doors at the top of the Labour Party, undermining internal democracy, trying to use power for power's sake rather than relying on not just convention, but on kind of good moral fortitude that they've been lacking ever since Keir Starmer became leader of the Labour Party and they took control of the party apparatus, right? Always sowing that seed of doubt is the important thing that somebody like John can do without outwardly attacking the leadership, because he knows that his position on the benches is difficult to maintain, given that same power is being used by the Labour leadership to get rid of any MP that they actually disagree with, that they believe to be contrary to their plan for the internal processes of the Starmer Politburo. This is the way that you need to get them done. So I don't even know anymore. I just think people need to come clean. That's the good line that he's taken there.
You're saying effectively that Keir Starmer needs to go on the record and say exactly what was discussed in those
Exactly.
meetings with the Speaker. That's what you're saying.
I think both the Speaker, Keir Starmer, all those participating in these discussions need to come absolutely clear, because somehow we've got to restore confidence in this place. This is the mother of parliaments. You know, when people get elected here to represent their constituents, they think they're coming to a parliament that's respected across the globe. Behaviour like this undermines the confidence in that parliament, amongst our own constituents and actually also across the world.
As MPs were voting,
And yeah, he's right. Across the world, people are looking at this shit show. People are looking at this absolute shambles and just thinking how embarrassing. Well, we're already an embarrassing country worldwide. Like, we already look embarrassing in the world of what we've done to ourselves with our economy, what we did to ourselves with Boris Johnson, what we did to ourselves with Brexit. And people are always looking at our country and looking at us and thinking that we're a shambles, right? Because there are loads of ways that you could have done these things and not be shambolic. But these continual failures of the structure of our society, of the structure of our democracy, have been blown wide open by this kind of generation of politician, the kind of the post-Blair, really, the post-Blair world that we live in, where politics became not a game for gentlemen, but a game for miscreants. And there are plenty of people who've taken advantage of this, both within the lobby through Parliament itself, or with their friends in the media, or through spin. And we do need to restore trust in it. It's no wonder people don't have any trust in it. It's no wonder that the world looks at us like we're an absolute laughing stock, a gigantic laughing stock, and rightly so. Ridiculous country, the UK.
not voting, walking out, apologising, making accusations in Parliament, outside Parliament, people were protesting about the situation in Gaza. How do you think this looks to the public?
Dreadful, absolutely dreadful. What's happening in Gaza, we've got children being killed, we've got people starving at the moment, and all we wanted today is express a view about the need for a ceasefire. And then we descend into this chaos of, it's just appalling, to be honest. I'm ashamed of the place at the moment, I'm ashamed of what happened today, and we need to rectify it soon if we're going to restore our reputation.
OK, thank you very much indeed. John McDonnell there.
Based, absolutely. I may not be a conservative, but I do believe in at least trying to adhere to some kind of set of expectations in terms of behaviour. And this falls well below the kind of behaviour that we expect. Well below the kind of behaviour that we expect. And we should be ashamed of the kind of position that we get to. Not just in terms of our foreign policy. Our foreign policy is shameful. Right? John Blunt, long-time critic of our foreign policy, but the basics of having a functional democracy, of having a literal functional democracy, should be like level 0. We can't even get above that. Well said, John.